On this episode of Hoosier Adventures, we check out beautiful downtown Denton, Texas. I came to Denton on a Saturday specifically to ride the A train. The A train is a commuter rail line between Denton, Texas and Carrollton, Texas. While I was waiting for my train, I had enough time to be able to walk over to the square in downtown Denton and actually came back there after I finished riding the A train. And as you'll notice here, the city of Denton has this amazing courthouse, and you can see it from almost around the entire town. I thought I'd get a few shots of this really cool old bank building. It did look like there was actually an antique store that's located inside the building, but it wasn't open that day. Something you'll notice here about this bank building is actually the clock as the camera pans over to the right. It's very reminiscent of a Whitney Bank clock, so I kind of wonder if this was a Whitney Bank location. All four sides of the square here in Denton are packed with different restaurants and stores. The most interesting thing that I saw while I was walking around downtown Denton was actually the different implementation of coronavirus restrictions that the stores and restaurants were doing. So you would see all kinds of different, we'll say, methods of implementation or, how far they wanted to carry those restrictions. So pretty much everywhere you had to have a mask, but some stores had a limit on the number of people that were allowed inside. Some did not, so you would see some stores that were just like jam-packed with people to where you could barely move, and the store next to it had a line because it only allowed 10 people in. There was at least one store that had staff inside, the lights were on. However, they had a sign on the door that said they weren't allowing people inside and you had to view their inventory on the internet, which seems like it kind of defeats the purpose of having a store. I spent a lot of time in the local used bookstore. They had a wide selection of different books. A lot of first editions and a lot of signed copies of stuff too, if that's sort of what you're into. They certainly were not hurting for customers that day. I mean, the store was packed the entire time I was in there. It was like wall-to-wall people. The store is called Recycled Books. If you're interested in going, check it out. Also, make sure to go downstairs. So they have a wide selection of non-fiction books downstairs, and I almost completely missed it because the staircase is actually when you first walk into the bookstore. So if you wander back into the bookstore on the first floor, you're going to kind of miss that staircase until you actually go to leave again. Denton actually ended up being a really big surprise for me. Like I said, I was just going to take the A train. However, I ended up just wandering around the town, and it was a cool place to sort of get lost in. Here we are at the A train station. It's on the east side of town, just easy walking distance from the downtown square of Denton. Eagle-eyed viewers may recognize this footage from my Take the A Train video. If you're interested in watching a whole video about the A train and learning a little bit about it, make sure to check it out. Honestly, I'm still in shock that the A train exists. As I mentioned in that video, though, there's always talk of extending the A train, either extending it north or extending it farther south. So here we are. Denton is actually the northern terminus of the A train as of right now, and you'll even notice those yellow things. I don't know the technical name for them. If you know, put it in the comments. That prevent the train from going any farther. Like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Hoosier Adventures, and be on the lookout for more episodes.